Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Diego Pacheco is cool, calm, and collective. And he showed me something tonight. Them first 4 rounds against Nelson, coming out of the Crawford and Bomac camp, Omaha, Nebraska. Let me tell you something. It wasn't even the 4 rounds. I actually thought those scorecards were kind of wide in my opinion, but Nelson came to win. But it's hard when you're fighting someone who's 6'4", has extremely long arms, and Nelson has long arms too. But man, Pacheco had every opportunity, I say, in them first 5 rounds to start to panic, to start to get anxious, to start to take unnecessary risks. And he didn't. He stayed cool, calm, he stayed collective, and you saw him start to pick up the pace, start to land his shots, start to time Nelson, and start to show that although he's 23 years young, that he's got some experience. Now, he signed with Eddie Hearn when he was 17, and Eddie Hearn has done a great job with him. The next step for him now, after putting on I think, a very mature display tonight, although in that 12th round, I think he should have picked it up a little more because Nelson came on strong. Let me tell y'all something. Maybe a younger Nelson, sitting on his punches a little bit more, maybe that guy would have beat Pacheco tonight. But the bottom line is, Nelson did what he could do. He got cut. He said the cut bothered him. He was seeing yellow. But you never know. Cuts affect everyone differently. But the bottom line is he did what he could do. And Pacheco did what he had to do. And it's like I always say, you're going to find a way to win or find a way to lose. Pacheco found a way to win tonight. But that being said, we got to be very real about him going forward. Let me show y'all something. Because I do think Pacheco could be the next big thing at super middleweight. But let's just take a look at some of these names here, and let's be real about Pacheco's chances of winning these fights. Okay, so here we go. Here we are, 168. Okay, let me bring this over a little bit more. You have, of course, you got Canelo's a big dog. He's about to fight Crawford. But let's just talk about Canelo since he's the first face I see here. What are Pacheco's chances to clip a guy like Canelo Alvarez? He's tall, he's rangy, but could Canelo get to him? The thing about Pacheco is Pacheco will let his hands go. He'll throw that hook, he'll throw the right hand, he'll throw the uppercut. He fights with his eyes. He's looking and seeing what you're doing. If you're coming straight ahead at him like Nelson was doing at times, he'll start to time you and pick you off. But him against Canelo, again, the experience factor will definitely weigh in. But I don't know how that fight goes, but I think it would be very competitive. But I still think Pacheco needs a little more experience before he goes and try to tackle a bull like Canelo. Now, next guy is Mbilli. We all know Mbilli can fight. We know Mbilli was the chief sparring partner for Berlanga. But man, I just think Pacheco could find himself getting overwhelmed because Mbilli fights from the first second of the first round to the last second of the last round, and he doesn't seem to get that tired. But I like Pacheco's chances because of his height, his range, and the IQ that he's developing. But I don't know how he would do if he gets someone that comes and just swarms him, and even on breaks, punching on the break and just not letting him breathe. I wonder how Pacheco would do with that. I've never seen him in a fight with someone just swarming him and on him, where he's got to really fight to keep him off of him. And someone who can out-stamina him. I think that would be a tough fight for him. I don't know much about Iglesias. Caleb Plant is a name that Eddie Hearn has thrown out there. Um, Maybe having Pacheco fight Caleb Plant, fight Munguia, fight Berlanga. Caleb Plant is smart. Caleb Plant is slick. Caleb Plant can box and move. You know, if he fought Pacheco, I think Pacheco has everything to win these fights. But I'm worried about his inexperience to get in with a guy like Caleb Plant. I mean, Pacheco's not David Benavidez. He's on his way because you can see that. You know, he's on his way to being, you know, a kind of David. I'd say another version of David Benavidez, training with David's dad. He's tall, rangy, and he's not as fast. He's not as aggressive. It's like he waits for his opportunities. But him against Caleb Plant, again, I would be worried about Caleb Plant's having too much experience, and Pacheco getting hit with something that could really, you know, hurt him in that fight. But at the same time, if he fights tall and he fights long, Plant could struggle big time in that fight because Plant was struggling against McCumbee. But Pacheco's not a reckless brawler like McCumbee either. Skull, I don't know much about him. He can fight, but he's been out in Germany. Just happened to pick up a strap. Very fortunate to receive that belt. But I don't know. Skull, again, Cuban fighters can fight. Amateur pedigree, is a pretty good professional fighter, but he may be able to clip Skull. Shishkin, I think he can clip Shishkin. I don't know much about Srirachi. Munguia, that's a good fight because Munguia is coming to fight. But I don't know. I think I may favor Pacheco against Munguia right now. Berlanga, Pacheco and Berlanga. I ain't gonna lie, man. I kind of favor Pacheco over Berlanga. I just don't like the way Berlanga's been fighting, man. He's already succumbed to the silk pajama syndrome. I personally don't think Berlanga gets another big win against a big name. You know, he's never got a big win against a big name anyway. But I don't think he gets a big win against a Plant, Pacheco, even a Munguia. And I like Berlanga. He can bang. He's got power, but I just think the money's got to him. I really do. I think the money's got to him. Bazignan can fight, but I think Pacheco, as long as he fights tall and long, he got power. He can beat all these guys. But I think in order for him to really get in there and dominate, not just get a win on decision, but dominate these guys, you got to let his hands go more. Start from the first second of the first round. I don't mean come out there and be reckless, but he's got to fight. But we know it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And I like the way he paces himself. But when you get up there with these guys who can put their foot on the gas from the beginning of the round, from the first bell, all the way to the last round, you could find yourself getting behind the scorecards and not being able to recover. But that's the one thing I like to see him work on, him just stepping to these guys. And when I mean stepping on, not coming everything power shots, but come out there and that jab. He's the man is 6'4", like an 80-inch reach. Just throw that jab out there like Larry Holmes. Pop, 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 like a powerful, fast, strong jab. And then boom, drop the right hand and just stay at a distance. And from the first round, set the tone. Second round, set the tone. Third round, start to mix it up a little bit. By the fifth round, man, he should be stopping people because he got some power. I don't know if y'all saw how he cut. He hit Nelson with that right hand and cut his eye. So he got some power. But that being said, he's cool, he's calm, he's collective, he's humble, and he's on his way. We're going to be talking about Pacheco for a while. He's only 23 years old, and he's not really taking much damage in fights. So he's preserving himself. But as far as what's next for him, let's just take a look at this. Look where Pacheco is. He's ranked number 1 by the WBO. He is ranked number 6 by the IBF. He is ranked number 3 by the WBC. And he is ranked... Hold on a second. They don't have him ranked but the WBA don't have him ranked, which is a complete failure. But anyway, he should be ranked by the WBA. Bottom line is, he's up there in the rankings of 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies. That just tells you that when you look at it, he's going to be getting a big opportunity. I don't think he's going to fight Canelo, but you got Mbilli, you got Berlanga. As far as the WBO, Pacheco's ranked #1, and Billy's #2, Berlanga's 3. For the IBF, #1's vacant. #2 is Shishkin, 3 is Mbilli, 4 is Sajdo, 5 is Iglesias, 6 is Pacheco. And then for the WBC, #1 is Mbilli, then Munguia, then Pacheco. So Pacheco is looking at, to me, as Mbilli or Munguia or Iglesias. But, Eddie Hearn has his way. He may try to put Berlanga in the mix. Anyway, good job to Diego Pacheco. I actually thought that fight was closer. But, I felt like Nelson was working. But he was throwing a lot of shots. But, like I said, if you have in today's climate, if you're being outthrown, you can lose a fight. But as far as the guy who was landing most of the shots and definitely the more significant shots was definitely Pacheco. He just wasn't throwing as many punches. But again, he can have that ineffective aggression. Obviously, what was going on with Steve, I keep calling him Steve Nelson. I think his name is Steve Nelson, but with Nelson, that's what happened. And you can't win a fight like that. You got to be able to put some torque on those shots and hurt him. If he was hurting Pacheco, I say in half of the rounds, if he had hurt him, Nelson probably would have won. But he wasn't really hurting him in those rounds. 12th round, he had some success, but he didn't really put a dent in him. He was just kind of coochie-cooing him, you know what I'm saying? You need to do more than coochie-coo somebody to get a decision. Anyway, good job to Pacheco. Let's see what they're going to do next with him, because Eddie Hearn can't afford to misstep. And if he lines Pacheco up with Berlanga, I mean, he's probably going to kick Berlanga off Matchroom. So I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to look at trying to get a Caleb Plant, someone who's not not with Matchroom, because he's going to want to build Berlanga up some more, and then Pacheco up some, and then have another Mexico versus Puerto Rico showdown. That's what he's trying to do. So I don't think he'll make Berlanga and Pacheco next. Anyway, Pacheco keeps passing the eye test. When he gets that real test, I think he's gonna be more than ready, because he's looking good. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. In the breeze.